Hello, this tutorial is on 3D mesh preset objects in Adobe Photoshop. As always, the first thing that you want to do is to make sure that your workspace is changed from Essentials to 3D so that will get the 3D panels that you need for working with 3D objects. What we will be dealing with in this tutorial is basically this 3D panel and the mesh from presets. You will then want to create your new file. Go up under the Photoshop menu, File, New, give your file a name, change your default to Web, click OK, and that creates your new artboard. Now you will be able to go over to the 3D panel and choose Mesh from Preset, and you can see the various different objects that you can create, from a cone to a sphere to a soda can to a donut. For this tutorial, I'm just going to create a cube, and then once you have your object selected that you want to choose, you click on Create. As you can see, this created the new cube, your new object. I will discuss the 3D panel in a little bit of detail with the cube showing, and then I will go into more creating a complex object. Under the 3D panel, there are 4 different filters that you can use. The first one is the filter by the whole scene, and that gives you everything in that scene. The view, which is the camera, your object. If you expand here, you can see the sides of the cube, the front material, etc. Also, it gives you the infinite light. If you choose the second one, that's filter by meshes, and you just get the object or the mesh that you created. With this object, it is a 6-sided cube, so there'll be 6 different objects or 6 different meshes within that cube. And then, as you can see, the third one is filter by materials, and since there's 6 sides, you'll have 6 materials listed here. The last one is the infinite light, which is filter by lights. You can go and add new lights here by clicking on this little light bulb. So zoom in there. New spotlight, new point light, new infinite light. And as you can see, this added a new light. And that's the 3D panel. Dependent upon what you have chosen in your 3D panel, your properties panel will change. So for instance, if you choose your property panel is at the panel up here. If you choose your scene, you can see that the properties changes for the scene. If you choose the current view, it also changes. That's where you can access the coordinates as well. If you choose your cube, that's just the properties change to just the coordinates. If you change your front material, that's when you get the properties panel that has the different options that you can change for the materials. For instance, you can change the texture, the look, the feel of the whatever material you have selected. You can also change the color. Change the color there. Also some color attributes of specular, illumination, and ambient. For the materials, there's other options such as shine, so you can increase your shine. Depending upon the material you have, will be the reaction that you have within that selection. You can change your reflection. As you can see, there's a little bit of change there. Your roughness, your bump. So you saw the bump increased, so it's more flat, a little more bumpy. And then your opacity, it was at 100%, so you can make that less. So let's see, you can change your refraction as well. And that's pretty much the properties for the materials. Also, if you have a texture that you wanted to load, you could do that, or you could create a new texture. The next thing I'd like to show you is how to create a complex 3D object in Adobe Photoshop. For time's sake, I'm going to fast forward to have already created the artboard since I had already shown you that. Alright, I'm going to create a little more complex object with maybe 3 different things. Go down to Mesh from Preset, set the cylinder, that'll work. Click Create. I want to make this cylinder a little smaller, so it'll scale uniformly. Come up here, move it to ground, and I want to actually make it a little shorter, so I'm just going to scale along the y-axis. Again, move it to ground. And then come up here for my view, and zoom in on it, and pan it up so I can see it. Okay. So let's come to the material. As you can see, there's a cylinder material, top material, and then the bottom. So the cylinder is what wraps around. I'm going to change all 3 materials at once, so I can click on Shift and click on the material. And I'm going to make them a satin black. Actually, I'm going to make the top material a little bit lighter. So let's make it something more grayish black. So that's what we have. Zoom in a little bit. Then I'm going to place a couple rings on top of the cylinder. Maybe intertwine them, create some cool shadows. So I go down here to Cylinder, and then I right click and I add a ring. I'm going to make the ring, let's see, change this to inches, make it proportional, and click OK. So there's my ring. Let's move it up so we can see it, and it's extremely large. So I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to click on the ring, scale uniformly, and scroll down. Then I want to move it down here, move a little over on the x-axis. Let's see, change my camera, click out of here, change my camera, do the orbit, and then I'm going to, let's see, move on the z-axis. I think I want to rotate it around, and then maybe around the y as well. Give me a nice shadow. So I'm going to zoom in by pressing on Command and plus, and then I'm going to zoom around and see. I think I need to take this and move it on the y-axis down just a little bit. Okay. So let me zoom out again by pressing Command negative, and then I want to create a new ring. So instead of just adding a ring, I can create a duplicate by coming down to the 3D panel, right clicking on ring, and do duplicate objects. So that created a new ring. So let's move that up, zoom out here so we can see that, and zoom in on the artboard. Okay, so for time's sake, I deleted my ring and created a new one, and then moved it to intertwine with the other one that I had already created. So that's pretty much the complex object. If I wanted to change the material in the rings, I could go under Filter by Materials, Ring Material for the first one, Shift, click on Ring Material for the second one, and then maybe I'll change it to a, I think there was a metal copper. Give it a little different look. And that's my complex object, and this concludes my video on the basics of 3D mesh objects presets in Adobe Photoshop. Thanks for watching.